A country that was once the most powerful empire in the world. Nowadays, it has to deal with economic problems, government formation crises, and protests. While it was Africa's strongest sovereign power, it is now turned into the unwanted white man in Africa and is losing power day by day. This country, which owns places or land both large and small almost everywhere in the world, has a full independent and strong defense industry, and hosts the most tourists global almost every year. What happened to make it no longer as powerful as before? Let's take a brief look at France's history together. The history of France begins from the Iron Age. According to the earliest written records, the name France comes from the word Francia, meaning the lands of Franks. The location of present-day France was once the Roman Empire province called Gaul. Between 53-58 BC, the Gallic Wars were fought and the Roman Empire conquered Gaul. Later, Gaul was unified under the rule of Frankish King Clovis I at the end of the 5th century, laying the foundation for Frankish dominance that would last for centuries in the region. Although the Franks were ruled by King Clovis and the Merovingian dynasty until the 8th century, the Carolingian dynasty took over afterward, and under their rule Charlemagne, Frankish dominance in the region reached its peak. During the Carolingian Empire period, the Capetian dynasty was founded by Hugh Capet in 987. In 1328, with the death of the last member of Capetian dynasty, the question of succession to the throne arose. This situation caused a conflict and proxy crisis between the Valois dynasty and the Plantagenet dynasty. The tension between these two dynasties is known as 100 Years' War. The war, which began in 1338, ended in 1453 with the victories of the Valois dynasty. Following the victory in the 100 Years' War, French nationalism and the French monarchy gained strength. During this period, France began to govern as a centralized absolute monarchy. In the following centuries, a French Renaissance and reform took place. However, during this period, another succession war occurred. During French Wars of Religion, a succession war was fought between the lost Valois King Henry III and the Bourbon and Guise dynasties. The winner of this war was Henry IV, King of Navarre and heir to the Bourbon dynasty. Henry IV strengthened his own dynasty and established a French colonial empire in the 16th century. At the end of the 18th century, the monarchy and its institutions were overthrown and republics began to be declared. The significant event that caused this was the French Revolution of 1789. The French Revolution shook the power of absolute monarchies, established the republic, introduced the nationalism movement, and is considered a reflection of Enlightenment thought. This movement began with the storming of the Bastille on July 14, 1789, and ended in 1799. Its intellectual foundations were laid by Enlightenment philosophers such as Descartes, Montesquieu, Voltaire, Rousseau, and Locke. The economic and social events that occurred also played a role in the revolution. In the subsequent period, France was governed by the First Republic under Napoleon Bonaparte. Afterward, with the Napoleonic Wars and Napoleon's defeat, regime turmoil resurfaced, resulting in a period of monarchical rule. Later, the Second French Republic and in 1870, the Third French Republic were established. When it came to World War I, France was part of the Triple Entente group. During World War II, although aligned with the Allied powers, it was occupied by Nazis and partially controlled by the Axis powers and partially by the Vichy government. The Free France and the Fourth French Republic were established, but this situation was short-lived. Under the leadership of Charles de Gaulle, the Fifth French Republic was founded. After World War II, France became a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council and a member of NATO. Additionally, France is one of the countries that contributed to the formation of the European Union. It is among the countries with an important history due to its contributions to concepts such as democracy, equality, citizenship, and the republic. Now that we have briefly looked at the history of France, let's see what kind of France exists today and how it compares to the past in terms of economy, diplomacy, art, sports, and many other fields. France was experiencing one of its peak economic periods in the 20th century. It was one of the dominant powers in the world. Products from its colonies in Africa especially allowed the French to live in prosperity. However, the situation was no longer the same. Many countries in Africa began to take a stand against France and started object to being colonies. They wanted the French soldiers in their countries to return to France. Paris, which was once one of the central cities in diplomacy, has now lost this title to Asian cities such as Istanbul, Riyadh, Doha, and Tokyo. Of course, this situation not only shows that France but also Europe has lost its status as a center in diplomacy. France, which invested in many areas of sports, began to reap the benefits in the following years. There was no significant international success in football. After serious investment in sports, France started to achieve major success both with the national team and club teams. In 2018, the French national team became the World Cup champion. Paris Saint-Germain became the UEFA Champions League and UEFA Super Cup champions in the 2024-25 season, becoming the first French team to achieve this. France ranked as the fifth country with the most medals at the 2024 Summer Olympics. France, always one of the pioneering countries in art, continues to maintain this title today, as the fourth highest earning country in art tourism. France, with the romance of Paris, the lavender fields of Provence, the luxurious beaches of the French Riviera, and the world-famous French cuisine, makes the country a center of cultural tourism and a gastronomic destination. France, which has always distinguished itself from other European countries in the defense industry and competes globally with countries like the United States, China, and Russia with a strong infrastructure, is not a country dependent on American products like other European nations. The French defense industry ranks among the leading players in the sector, not only in Europe but worldwide. The Ukraine-Russia war, ongoing since 2022, has strongly influenced the European agenda. The war, which has caused a major humanitarian crisis, has brought border security and defense discussions back to the forefront. The shifting balance of power, accelerating technology, and interstate competition highlight the importance of defense industry. For this reason, France has allocated a significant increase in its budget for this military program prepared for 2024-2030. The French defense industry is the heir to a deep-rooted history. It develops in line with times through accumulated technical expertise and the driving support of the state. However, the state alone does not own this industry. It has built defense industry on close relationships with private companies. Thus, it maintains a balanced policy aimed at supporting economic development. Additionally, the defense industry, which is require high technology and skilled engineers, also provides significant employment. France, which has very strong defense industry companies among the world's largest such as Airbus Defence and Space, Thales, Safran, MBDA, Naval Group, Dassault Aviation, CEA, Ariane Group, Nexter, and Arcus, utilizes this advantage very effectively both militarily, diplomatically, and economically. Turning to the politics, French politics has not been going well lately. In fact, it would not be wrong to say it is in a very bad state. The Fifth Republic system, established 67 years ago in France and which introduced the semi-presidential system, is now being criticized for no longer meeting the country's political needs due to the short-lived and unstable governments in recent years. France's replacement of 5 prime ministers in the last 4 years sparked debates. The Fifth Republic system, designed 67 years ago to prevent political instability and create a strong executive power, has become inadequate. In France, the early election called by dissolving the parliament in 1962 elevated then President Charles de Gaulle as a stronger and more effective leader in the political arena. However, this was not the case for current President Emmanuel Macron, who decided to dissolve the parliament in June. The early elections called by Macron after dissolving the parliament resulted in the most fragmented legislature since 1958, and the fact that no party or alliance achieved the absolute majority required to form a government alone prolonged the government formation process. Moreover, the minority government led by Michel Barnier 4 months after the elections was also topped on December 4th after only about 3 months following a no-confidence motion by the opposition. The Fifth Republic system, which grants the president the authority to dissolve the parliament, became the focus of criticism as Macron exercised his power and the early elections. He led the country into a more turbulent political landscape. In Paris, the capital of France, the court made a critical decision on Monday that will determine the political future of Marine Le Pen, leader of the far-right National Rally Party. The opposition politician was found guilty of misusing public funds and was banned from running for the presidency with immediate effect. 8 National Rally Party deputies and 12 aides were also found guilty. The court estimated the total loss to the European Parliament at 2.9 million euros, with the Le Pen having embezzled approximately 474,000 euros. Following this incident, the streets of Paris erupted again as Le Pen supporters protest against President Macron. France, grappling with economic problems, faces the presidential election in 2027. Will it be able to revive its economy by 2027, and what the outcome will be in 2027? We will all see together.